we got to talk a little bit about our most recent video that's out right now, and that was what really messed up Firefly. We decided we wanted to do that video because it was, you were talking a lot about it. The fact that you love Firefly.
I do.
And I actually hadn't seen anything. I had watched Serenity, I think. And I'm like, all right, you want to do something new. So I had to go and like learn and immerse myself in this thing. And, everybody knows that Firefly got a raw deal by Fox, but learning the intricacies of where it came from and then also learning that it had this opportunity through Serenity to basically come back again, and to learn that essentially Universal like screwed that up. I mean, right. Universal gave it a chance to come back. So it's like this weird like double thing where, yay, Universal, thank you for letting Joss Whedon make Serenity, but boo, Universal, you basically just sunk it by the way you marketed it and released it. And then Joss also messed it up. It wasn't really his fault because he had to write a script. They gave him like almost no money to make this movie, right?
Right.
And they wouldn't let him. The first script that he actually wrote for it was long. It was over 2 hours. And they're like, yeah, no. Right. And that script would have made, the fans happy and also brought people in, like new fans into the Firefly universe.
I remember seeing a million years ago a spec of that script that he had shared on like MySpace or something like. Yeah, it was literally almost twice the length of the current movie.
Yeah, it was. Well, and you need it. It's hard to take all these characters that you got to create, backstories for. And then you also have to make something interesting that's going to make money that people are going to enjoy. And I think he got stuck. He said at the time it was the hardest thing he'd ever done. And I think he just decided, he's like, okay, am I going to make the fans happy, or am I going to try to make, everybody happy and probably fail at that? And I think he just chose to make the fans happy, because when you watch the Serenity movie, it's a good movie. The villain's amazing.
Oh, the villain is amazing.
Amazing.
Oh, it's one of the greatest villains of any sci-fi movie, because like when you watch it, you not only understand his. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't want to forget this. You not only understand his motivations, but you actually feel like he feels what he is doing is righteous.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't say what I'm doing is righteous, but he feels in his soul what he's doing is righteous. He's on the right side of history. He's on the good guy's side. And that is
he's not the bad guy to himself, even though he's killing people.
Right.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
Oh, and that first scene where he kills that guy, he's like, that's a good death. This is a good death.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So good. So good.
So for fans, it's great. They've got this new element to the story. They focus, really specifically on Captain Mal, Nathan Fillion's character, and they kind of focus on Summer Glau's character, River.
River
Tran. What's that?
River Tran.
Yeah, River. And so what happens is they kind of get this focus on those three characters, and everybody else is kind of just wallflower-ish, And so for fans who already know the entire backstory, great, it's a good story. But if you're new to the universe, you're lost. I mean, unless you've seen the season, you're not really going to understand where these characters come from, their importance. The fact that Inara has like a bit role, that Book has a bit role. It was kind of weird in the movie. So, but Joss, I think he made that decision. He'll never admit it, but from all the research and investigation that we've done, like it shows how he basically made that decision. And honestly, I don't know if there wasn't enough time.
There wasn't another option. If you have to cut it down to an hour and a half, I mean, look, we just saw this. The original Justice League was a mess because you didn't give all the characters the history and the backstory they needed to understand their motivations and what they're doing. And to fix that, the fans clamored for a Snyder cut. He released it, and it's 4 hours long. In order to do that, he had to make a 4-hour long movie to introduce 5 characters, and there's
Right.
5 even more in Firefly.
You needed more. Yeah, they needed to do what Marvel did and actually have a movie for each character. That probably would have been the way to do it. But for Serenity, this was like the chance to bring Firefly back. So I mean, we're going to talk more about it in the upcoming movie, but we're going to talk more about that. But I do believe also there is no evidence to that shows they couldn't use the name Firefly. So there's a part of me that wonders how much Joss wanted this to come back, really. How much he really wanted to come back, or how much he was just doing a fan service and kind of fingers crossed.
I wonder why they couldn't use it. Like, who did someone else own the rights to it?
Okay, Fox technically would own the rights to the name Firefly, but Fox didn't. Fox gave the movie rights to Universal. They sold it to him. So why wouldn't they let him use the name? The story goes that Joss says the story is that Fox wouldn't let him use the name Firefly. Why? So Fox could go make their own Firefly movie? Why would they do that?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
They just let Universal do it. So go watch the video for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, so you get all the information. But the shortness of it is that Universal did this really crazy thing where they basically preempted their own launch of the movie by airing it more than 80 times in theaters to super fans.
Right. Before the release,
because they thought we're going to do this like guerrilla marketing thing where we're going to let people see it early and get the hype going. Well, because Joss wrote a script that was basically for fans, the fans went and saw it early if they could. You were one of them.
Right. I saw it twice.
Yeah. And so, you saw it twice. And remember who was in that theater? Just fans, right?
Oh yeah. Can I tell the story right now? Do we have time?
Please, yeah, quickly.
Okay, yeah. Here's how I remember when we were first setting up the history video that we'll talk about soon. I remember telling Shane, bro, there's something about this that is not listed anywhere. It's not on Wikipedia. It's not on. No one's talking about it. But I'm telling you right now, that movie came out 6 months before the actual movie was released. They showed it as some charity thing or something, or whatever, pre-release.
No, it wasn't charity. Charity came afterwards.
I'm sorry. Some kind of pre-release or whatever, 6 months before. I know because I had friends that drove in from Vegas to come watch it with me and my wife at like Downtown Disney. Before it was called Downtown Disney. We went to go watch it, and it wasn't even called Firefly. It was called something else. And like, you had to buy the tickets. You had to be in the know to get the tickets. Right. You had to be a super fan. And it came out, and it was released in multiple theaters in SoCal. And then like 6 months later was the actual release. And I was like, oh, I've already seen that movie.
Yeah, there was no reason to go back, right?
And remember, we couldn't find information about it. And Shane was like, are you sure that happened? I'm like, I'm telling you, it happened.
Yeah.
And then we finally found it.
Yeah, when you said that, man, I went all in. Like I found like old, like GeoCities pages.
Yeah, I found this one here.
Yeah. I mean, I found some stuff, dude. That's actually the ad.
Oh, that's the ad. Yeah.
That's the fan. I mean, Firefly has a really amazing story, but basically they what's the best way to say how they did this? They took all the energy that Serenity could have had coming out, even better if it had been named Firefly. They drained the energy out of it up until the release. And so when it actually released in theaters, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if they count the box office numbers from before the release as part of their earnings.
I don't think they do. Remember when I first brought that up, I was like, no, they don't. They didn't even count those numbers.
Right, because it's everything after the release of the film.
Right, because I remember seeing the box office report. And this is how nerdy we are, guys. Like, Firefly came out when we've been following box office numbers since before anybody else. Like all these YouTube channels that talk about box office reports.
Yeah.
We were doing that before it was easy. I remember creating an account so I can log into like this members only thing just to see like the IMDb box office numbers of movies. Yeah. But I remember logging in and seeing like this horrible opening weekend and wondering why it was so bad when the theater I went to was packed, but I went to the theater 6 months ago.
Right. So imagine had all those people come to the theater, brought their families. There was some excitement about it. And, and you had like super fans mixed up with regular people who then were like, oh, these regular people are like, I need to go back and watch the show. If they would have just made another 20 million, they probably could have got a second movie. I mean,
because it still broke even, right?
It broke even. Yeah,
so,
it broke even.
Yeah, and so if all those fans had seen it before, it would have made money, which is the only reason studios make movies, right?
Yeah. So there could have been a better script, but ultimately, I think the thing that made it so we couldn't get like Serenity 2 or Serenity 3, and I think had Universal done a Serenity 2, had it been successful, you might have had Fox going, oh, wait, what do we do? Like we shouldn't have pulled that off the air. We need to, and it would have been soon enough that they could re-release it and do something again. I mean, now it's too late,
No, yeah, but there's no. Of course, they could have done a season 2. They would have.
Yeah, they could have.
Thrown their support behind it.
They could have rolled right. It hadn't been done before. But the thing is that Joss was saying at the time he was down for that. Like if they had come out of Serenity movies and wanted to go back to TV, he says in an interview that he would have done that.
Yeah.
So and they were down to do that. So
the whole cast.
The opportunity was there, to actually make this happen. I mean, now it's a footnote. Now it is what it is. And I don't think you'll never have the cast back the way you did. But Disney owns it. So, we'll see where that goes.
Thanks for watching. To see the full conversation, become a member of the Popcast family. Use the link in the description below or go to our channel and click the join button. Select your tier and we'll see you at the next show.
I've been waiting for you.